Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It is Thursday, and yes, it's time to talk some Major League Baseball. Not even a half-run loss by my Houston Astros, who had 5 innings to get 1 run, can keep me down from coming on here with my boys. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, along with Kyle Purviance. How about today, boys? It's a Thursday. I'm looking at my big screen. I got 6 games in boxes here. We are going to have some fun talking live Major League Baseball, Jason.
Yeah, just like you, the Nationals, they had 3 runs, left 14 runners on base yesterday, and couldn't cash that ticket. But you know, we'll talk in a little bit. Might be back on those guys tonight.
I think I will be as well. Kyle, how was your night last night? And yes, 6 baseball games live here on the card.
Yeah, what a crazy day, right? Like, just very few games later on, so it's going to be a lot of fun doing the live stuff. And I got to tell, I love it when before the show even starts, the chat box going off, everyone here. It's really appreciated. It's humbling, very excited. Cheers to everyone. And yes, the home run props have been money, so maybe we can go 5 for 5 today. We'll see what happens. But really appreciate everyone in the chat. It really is humbling. I love seeing it. It's all the energy, all the vibes. We've got a bunch of live games. I'm excited for today.
Let's do it again, and good. We are going to preference 6 games here on the card, so let's get into it. Milwaukee Brewers, Philadelphia Phillies, Houston Astros, New York Yankees, Detroit Tigers, Boston Red Sox, Texas Rangers, Minnesota Twins, and the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. And chiming in now, Cleveland Indians and the Kansas City Royals. I'll start with you first, Jason. The entire board is ours. What you got here?
Yeah, so, I mean, currently, right now, I'm on the Twins, minus 0.5 in the first 5. And I'm also rooting for the Royals and the money line on the first 5. So those are 2 bets I have pregame. With all the games going on, it's been pretty hectic, pretty crazy. Just saw the Mets couldn't get any runs with guys base loaded and just 1 out. I saw in the chat people were kind of not excited about that. So lots of action here. It's going to be really exciting, and got to keep up with all these games.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Obviously, being a Philadelphia Phillies fan, I'm always intrigued at the Phillies games as they line up. Woodruff and Wheeler both dealing. Haven't checked in the last half inning, but looking at the score, so obviously 0-0, and both pitchers did not have high pitch counts. When we're talking about live game wagering situations, there's a lot of things that go into it, which before a game, all right, how long is my pitcher going to last? My bat's going to hit? Which bullpen guys are going to be available? When you're watching live, which we are today, you can go over some scenarios that do make a lot of sense, and you can cash in on, particularly talking late inning baseball, Kyle. 6th inning, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Who's coming up in the order? Is your starting pitcher winding down and getting gassed? Is the bullpen coming in? Is that bullpen very good? And trying to maximize those conditions, particularly with team totals, and how to put those to your advantage. Because if you can say before the game, like, hey, I like this team at 4, and all of a sudden that run line is now sitting on the team total live number of 2.5 in the 6th inning, theoretically, you got the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th to score runs against a below-average bullpen. There's some advantageous spots here, Kyle, that you can hit in these games.
Absolutely, and I love what Jason said about the Royals, too, because I like the Royals a lot today, so I think they get it done in the first 5. And I'm just going to say this right now. If you're not following Donnie on Twitter, he is the in-live betting master. You need to go to Donnie's Twitter and follow him. If you're watching baseball at night and you want to make a live bet, he's giving you the spot. So and we talked about it before the show, just their algorithm is wrong, and you're getting really good value for some weird stuff here. So I really recommend doing that, and waiting till late in the game when you get these low numbers just makes a ton of sense. As far as the games go here, looking at Milwaukee, Philly, right? We got no runs here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to favor Milwaukee. Why? Because that Philly bullpen will implode. That's what they do. And even though Milwaukee's bullpen has underperformed so far this year, they're certainly better, exponentially better, in my opinion, than Philly. So you just sort of wait on that, and then you get yourself a little juice on Milwaukee here. And that's the route I would go. Just attack those bad bullpens. Yankees, Houston, that's going to be tough. You're going to want the Yankee, Cole against his former team. He's pitching well. He's given up 1 run here, but I like the Yankees there. And that Boston-Detroit game's going off. Detroit, don't forget, has the worst bullpen in the bigs. So if you're getting a live total on Boston, why not jump all over it? Because that Detroit bullpen is abysmal, an ERA of over 6.5. So that's the type of way I would do that. Again, I'm going to reiterate. Follow Donnie on Twitter for those live bets tonight, because he's the man at it. That's just how it is.
Let's take a look at these games, Jason, because let's start with the Philadelphia Phillies since Kyle was segueing into it.
Sorry.
Here's the issue. Yeah, here's the issue we're going to have. Wheeler's only got 60 pitches through 5 innings. He's usually good for over 100. He might pitch into the 8th inning, but you're looking before the game, and let's just say 3.5s are each team's team totals. Philadelphia Phillies 3.5, Milwaukee Brewers 3.5. I'm looking right now. Do you know what these team totals are sitting at? Granted, it's the 5th inning. The Phillies are at 1. They score 1 time in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th. You're free rolling. 1 time. Not 2, not 3, not 4. 1 time. You want to flip it over to the Brewers and say, hey, maybe Wheeler can get knocked out of this game early? They're 1.5. But, oh, yeah, they're plus 115. So it's the game live total is 2.5.
I mean,
so if you do the math on this, solo home run Phillies, solo home run Milwaukee, you won the bet. This is what I'm talking about with live game situations. Even if you're saying I'm not going to push that button just yet, just think about this. You're in the 5th inning. If each team scores 1 time in the next 5 at-bats, you cash. Sounds easy, doesn't it, Jason?
Yeah, and even if it goes 0-0 and Woodruff and Wheeler go 9 innings and no runs, you get guys on second base in the 10th inning, 1 run, and then you're guaranteed to get over that 2.5. So, yeah, obviously that's a great look. And Woodruff stealing, Wheeler looks really good too. We kind of knew that coming into this game, but I did think the Brewers would be able to pull ahead against Wheeler, who's had some shaky outings here and there, but today doesn't look like he's having a shaky outing.
Yeah, each team, 12 outs to get 1 run apiece. We'll see how it plays out. And again, if anything pops up, some advantageous stuff, we're going to let you know about it. We'll get in on it here. But let's flip it around to some of the other games that are taking place. New York Yankees just seem to have the Astros number here. And Kyle will bring you up on this. Garrett Cole pitching well here, 3-1 in the 5th inning right now. Minus 1,200 for the New York Yankees right now. An over-under of 7.5 in that game. Any thoughts here on the Houston Astros and Yankees? Please, I think it profiled before the game to an under. We'll see how it plays out. But 3-1 here, Yankees early.
Yeah, and it's tough now because you're just not getting any value on that whatsoever, right? And not only is Cole pitching, but the Yankees bullpen has been very, very good. In fact, they're the best bullpen in the big leagues this year. So it's really hard. You know, typically you look at the spot, you see that plus money on a team like the Astros and you want to jump on it, but you just can't because it doesn't look good for them. The play here is the Yankees. The problem is there's no value there. So again, this would be something where maybe you wait an inning or two, you know, get a total for the Yankees of maybe 4 or, 4.5 after they score, and jump on it there. Hard to get value at minus 1,200 for Christ's sake. So, I mean, what are you going to do there? The plays the Yankees, they should win this game. Hard to imagine the bullpen collapsing late. It's the Yankees, but you're going to have to be creative and find some value.
And finally, some teams hitting today. Texas Rangers got 2, but I'm looking towards the Minnesota Twins. Baffled last night as I looked, multiple times Minnesota had runners in scoring position, couldn't cash any tickets. And I put the tweet out this morning, Jason. What the hell is going wrong with the Twins? But at least righting the ship here, at least 3 runs over the first 5 innings. If we look towards a game total that is live at 9, minus 450 here for the Twins in this one, Jason.
Yeah, so I just want to apologize if you have the people mowing the lawn in the front yard.
That's usually me.
That, but yeah, no, I do think that we can get an over here. I think the Twins bats, they're usually really, really good during the day. I don't know if you guys have realized that so far, but like in day games, they've really kind of taken off and have a lot of power. Rooting for one more out here for the Twins so I can get my minus 0.5 in the first 5. So hoping we get that one. But I do think that the Twins specifically will get a lot of runs in this game towards the end of the game.
Amen. And take a bother, have you right here up on the mic, Jason. Let's hear. Actually, you know what? I'll let that mower go by and start this with Kyle. Take a look at the New York Mets, seemingly not able to do a damn thing with runners in scoring position. But as I say that, looking at you have 2 outs, 1 out, 2 men on, a live total of 2.5 for the Mets in the 4th inning. And it looks like no double play, but first and third now with 2 outs. I can't see who's actually coming up to see if it might be the pitcher or not. But these are the low numbers that you're getting mid-game with runners in scoring position.
Exactly. And listen, the Mets are hard to trust. So I'll be honest, like me personally, even if I see a Mets total at half a run, I'm very, very nervous to take the over because, God, I mean, we used to say Jesus Christ Drew Lock on the NFL show. It's Jesus Christ Francisco Lindor. I mean, what in the actual hell is going on there? But again, 2.5. If you hit the button now and you get a base hit, you've already got one, and now maybe you get rolling here. Tough to trust the Mets. Me personally, I'm staying away from that. The Mets make me very, very nervous. I'm sorry, Jason. Maybe wait another inning or two and get that number down to 1.5. That's probably what I would do in this spot.
Yeah, Lindor sitting up here in this spot, Jason, obviously first and third. Last year, I'd have said, damn, get me Lindor to the plate. This year, I'm like, yo, put a pitcher in for Lindor to hit here.
Yeah, he did have a solid at-bat in his last at-bat. It was solid contact. They get out in center field. So we'll see what happens this at-bat. Did get that Twins minus 0.5 in the first 5, so starting off hot to start the day. Now we're rooting for the Royals here, but did get that Twins game. So I'm happy about that to start the day.
Looks like we had a quick run here or I shouldn't say a quick run, a run scoring, I want to say double here by the Cleveland Indians on a bloop out to right field that falls in. So we have some runs in that game as we take a look, minus 1.5 on the run line for the Cleveland Indians, minus 135 full game. But I do agree with you there. I thought Kansas City was the better play. We'll see if Kansas City bats come into effect. And again, we're talking about top of the second inning. So we have a long way to go in both the first 5 inning wagers in that game and also full game. Ripping it around the horn here, something that sticks out to me, some runs in Boston here. Eovaldi versus Turnbull. Not a surprise to me that obviously the Red Sox have 4 runs against Spencer Turnbull, but Eovaldi getting lit up here, getting back to his old ways of getting rocked. A 14.5, Kyle, sitting here as a total in this game.
I mean, you can't touch that, right? That's insane. We've seen lower team totals for the Jets and the football in Jacksonville, for Christ's sake. So there's nothing there for me. Like I said, what I would do in this game, honest to God, the Detroit bullpen is so bad. A 6.66 ERA for the start of the year. So honestly, what I would do here is I would wait till this gets a little bit later in the game and look at that Boston live team total and see if you can get over there. Going 14.5 is absolutely insane. There's no way I could recommend that.
And we just see Wheeler getting out of another scoreless inning, only 74 pitches through 6. So we might be looking at a complete game here out of Zach Wheeler. We'll see how long Woodruff goes. He has 78 pitches, but the issue as well, if there's probably 2 teams which are really tough to go against. One I did last night was the New York Yankees bullpen that completely slammed the door with the last 5 innings. Houston had their shots, but there's only one other team that scares me when I get in the late inning games, and it's the Brewers. So when I look at the Philadelphia Phillies here with an at-bat in the 6th inning, 7th, 8th, and 9th to get 1 run for a push, I just see those big arms coming in out there, and I just don't know how you get around it. Do you just wait out Hader in the extra innings? But obviously there's going to be no more team total. There's no more team totals posted after the 7th inning typically with FanDuel. You just have to flip it over to like a live total in the game and try to weigh your advantages that way. But we'll see how it plays out. But it's not really surprising that either one of these teams not doing a lot of damage, because if you're looking at rosters throughout Major League Baseball and starting lineups, the Brewers and the Phillies just put out absolute junk today, and that's why it's 0-0 as we're heading into the bottom of the 6th inning. Wrapping it around here as we say, I see a commercial, Jason, with the New York Mets here. Tell me about Lindor. Yeah,
whatever. I'll stay quiet.
So you have, like, in gambling, we use percentages in the law of averages, right? Sure. The law of averages he's too good of a player to just not make an impact. You're trying to put him in the leadoff spot in the 2-hole, saying he was supposed to be your jack of all trades, where when the going got tough, bases loaded, 2 outs, put me up. I'm going to knock this ball into the gap. Or I'll single, steal second base, and score on a dribbler to the outfield to win a baseball game. It's just not happening yet for him at this time. But as I'm looking here, bases loaded, it looks like, for Detroit, with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning in that one. So a lot of doings around Major League Baseball as it comes up. We'll spend another minute or 2 here ripping it around the horn to see what we have, but I'm always fascinated to see what type of totals I can get. As we were talking, the 2.5 with the New York Mets with 1st and 3rd and 2 outs, that is now sitting here at a 2 minus 113. So again, let's put this into perspective here. If you're betting the Mets before the game, it was probably a 4 with some light juice, 3.5 with big juice if you were probably looking at around MGM, bet MGM in that favor. So now you're through 4 innings of at-bats, don't have any runs, but you drop it to 2. Gives you the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's 5 at-bats to get 2 runs to free roll away, going up against a bullpen when maybe the starter was confusing it. Just from a bettor's perspective, Jason, it's so interesting when we talk as opposed to pre-game betting towards live game betting. If I gave you the instance each and every time saying you could take the 4 before the game, or I'll give you 2 with 5 at bats, I'll take the 2 every single time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And even, I thought the Mets would get over 3.5 on their team total. It was a lean for me earlier today. So getting that 2 is obviously much better than that 3.5. And obviously, if you get that 2, it's a push, and then you're free rolling from there. So, yeah, I agree. The Mets should be able to score. If they have the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th innings to score 2 runs. And obviously, they do have some power in that lineup. And they're getting on base. They're not struggling to get on base. They're just struggling to score with runners in scoring position, which has been a problem all year. But maybe they get lucky. Maybe somehow they're able to figure it out. And probably we Pete Alonso if anyone.
And take a look here at Philadelphia Phillies leadoff batter. So McCutchen is up first. So the top of the lineup, I don't really matters as much as the bottom of the lineup with the Phillies, who's actually in the game. But I wanted to also talk about this theory, Kyle, and I'll bring you into this, of what I like to look at with team totals and how they make sense. A lot of the times you'll see me post on Twitter a team total, let's just say late in the game, where 1.5s are available at like minus 135. Great, score 2 runs, you actually win. So people will tweet, I'll tweet out give me the 2 runs plus like 114 plus 117. Well, I'd rather have the 1.5 and pay juice. That's not the way I really look at it, because I figure if they score 1 run, obviously you're going to lose the bet. If you don't lose any juice, that's half the game in sports gambling. But also, if you do get the second run, the 1.5 does cash at 135, yes. But the 2 that's sitting there at a plus money number, you're now free rolling. So let's just say you took the 2 in the 6th inning and they have 1 run on the board. In the 7th inning, they score 1 run. You're now looking for that second run, which let's just say you get it in the top of the 8th inning with 1 out. You're the road team. You're still going to have 5 outs of free baseball at a plus money number to get another run across the plate. I usually defer, if it's available, because sometimes it's not, taking the 2 at plus money as opposed to the 1.5 heavily juiced.
I 100% agree, because again, we talk about risk tolerance all the time. What's your risk here? So if you're it's 1.5 at minus 135 and you're getting plus money for the 2.5 and you get the 2, or even if it just goes to 2 and you're getting the plus money, it's a push, right? So you're not losing anything and it just pushes away. Why not take the extra little chance on the plus money? Baseball betting, it's really unique from a lot of other sports. You got to take those plus money spots, because listen, the worst team in the league is going to win 65, 70 games, something like that, 60 to 70 games. So 60 or 70 times that team, most likely Detroit this year, is going to be plus money every single game. And so that's how you do baseball. And I think what you said makes a ton of sense. Why take the coward way out and get the minus 135 when worst case scenario, if that bet was going to cash, you're going to push the plus money bet. You always go for the plus money in baseball. That's the way I approach it. And it's been very good to me.
Yeah, the goal is the free roll in baseball at a plus money number. Not a free roll with 1 out, like, I need a solo home run to win this. It's getting a full inning, 2 innings when you have an in-game number where no matter what happens, you can't lose money, and getting into it as opposed to paying. Because, look, sometimes it's going to come back to bite you here. Like, oh, man, I took the 2. They got 2 runs, and I would have cashed at the 1.5. But long-term, not laying juice. I'm not talking about like I had last night minus 122. That's fine. I'm talking about when they flash numbers up here at like over 1.5 minus 145. That's what I'm particularly looking at when we're betting in-game. So let's get into the card tonight, gentlemen. 3 games on the card we could talk about here. 3:37 first pitch. So we're right about under an hour away from this game. Toronto and Oakland. Ryu versus Fires. If we look at the card, opened up here at 8 offshore and also in the New Jersey books, 8.5 now, and looking at a slight favorite here to the Toronto Blue Jays with Rio on the mound, minus 129 at Pinnacle, minus 126 at FanDuel in New Jersey. Jason, give me some looks here on Toronto, Oakland.
Yeah, Mike Fiers, obviously a guy that we faded plenty of times last year. Struggles versus righties, struggles versus lefties, gives up a bunch of home runs, and yeah, he's Mike Fiers, 3 home runs or 3. He's averaging 3 home runs per 9 innings in just 6 innings pitched. And then you have Ryu, who's coming off an injury, hasn't pitched in a couple of weeks now. So yeah, who knows if he'll be able to last a long time in this game. And also he'll struggle a little bit against righties as a left-handed pitcher. He'll allow some more power from the right side, and obviously the Athletics have plenty of righties that can do damage. And of course, Olsen and even Moreland from the left side can do some stuff as well. So I think the over 8 is a good look in this game. I think both teams can score some runs, and I don't think Ryu is going to be pitching through the entire game. I know the Blue Jays, their bullpen's been pretty good, but I still think that there's a way for the Athletics to score some runs. So I think the over 8 is probably the best play in this one.
Yeah, Toronto exploded yesterday for runs here, Kyle. Taking a look, we always like Oakland. We're always looking towards Oakland versus a lefty on the mound, but Ryu does have some pedigree. Hard to trust Fiers because coming into this game, only faced 25 batters, 11 of those from the left-hand side, which today only looks like you're going to have Biggio and Panic, which is a good thing for Fiers. He struggles with lefties, does a little bit better against righties. What's your look in this game? Any options, total-wise or side?
Yeah, this game is tough. Now, listen, all the numbers tell me there's this big dichotomy here because Ryu's certainly the better pitcher of the two. Obviously, Fiers is, he can implode at any time. Mm-hmm. But what are we going to get out of Ryu? He's been injured. How many innings is he actually going to go? And you look at that Toronto bullpen, it's been the second best bullpen in the major leagues, or the second best, just above Cleveland here, 2.47 ERA. I mean, the bullpen has been very, very good. But when you look at the matchups here, the Oakland bats profile very, very well against the lefty. I mean, up and down the order, we've got advantages of 37, 61, 17, 48, 46, and 30, and 42%. So it's a slight lean for me to the A's here. When I look at the first 5 money line, you're getting a plus 135. That's obviously because Fiers could catch on fire and just absolutely implode. But I do think the A's lineup has better advantages today, just based off the numbers over a 3-year stretch. So when I see a plus number in that first 5 on the money line too, by the way. So if it's a tie, it's a push here. It's not even minus 0.5 or anything. Plus 135. I'll take the A's first 5. It's a light lean. It's not an official play or anything, but that's the way I'd go on this game.
Yeah, I don't have much on this game. Usually it pertains to runs, but you're talking about a 12:37 first pitch out there in Oakland. Sometimes those are a little bit tough to deal with. Getaway day, players looking to get out of town, obviously. Keeping my eye on this. I wish we had 3 hours to do this show and walk you guys through what I like to look at in live betting and how it plays out throughout the game. Here's a good look here on the New York Mets right now. Michael Conforto's up to number 3 hole batter for the New York Mets. We're sitting here as a total of over 2, minus 106. So obviously 2 runs here over the next, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, you're going to be pushing and hopefully get a free roll. But here's the reason what I'm looking for. If the New York Mets can get a guy on, and let's just say, because I'm probably behind a little bit here, so I don't know if there's actually an out or just 2 strikes, but you pay for runners on. Just popped up. Okay. So you pay for runners that are going to get on base. If you're going to get let's just say the inning starts again at 2 minus 114 and Conforto gets on, which he didn't get on, but hear me out on this. If he gets on and now all of a sudden, instead of a 2 at plus 110, it's a 2 at minus 104. And then you get another guy on and it's a 2 at minus 117. You would take that all day long. It doesn't make any sense not to pay for runners on base because that's half the name of the game, getting runners on base to try to score them. So right now we'll see how it plays out. A 1.5 just popped up here in the New York Mets at minus 136. So now you watch. So we have the 4-hole hitter up, Pete Alonso. Let's just say Pete Alonso doubles in the gap and this goes to 2 at plus 105. Why would you not take that with the guy on second base? Yes, I know the Mets are ridiculously bad overall with runners in scoring position, but there is value in that number when runners continually get to second base. Let's keep it moving here on the list. 905, 906, Atlanta and Washington. Smiley the lefty versus Lester the lefty. Minus 118, minus 120 openers. Down to a pick 'em now. 8.5s across the board. Jason, let's start with you first. Actually, you have the Nats circled again for a team total today.
Yeah, last night, of course, the Nationals didn't get the job done against a lefty in Max Fried. Now they're getting another lefty in Drew Smiley, and obviously Smiley is way worse than Fried in terms of just being worst pitcher in the MLB. So far, Smiley's allowed 5 runs in his in the last 3 games. Each of the last 3 games hasn't looked really good. Weighted OBA of 438 to lefties and 402 to righties. ISO 556 against lefties and 350 to righties. So he's been getting lit up. 22 hits, 19 innings pitched, 21 runs, just 7 walks and just 18 strikeouts. And last year he was a high strikeout guy. This year, not nearly as high. So I do like the Nationals in this spot. Again, talked about it yesterday. The Nationals are very good against left-handed hitting. And on the other hand, you have the Braves. And they're really bad against left-handers. They're hitting just 171. They're the worst average in all of baseball against lefties. John Lester going to the mound for a second start of the season. And I do think that he'll be able to hold down that Braves lineup. Of course, Acuna will be the one guy that will make you, bite your nails a little bit. But I do think that he'll be able to get out of the innings and and perform. So for me, I'm on the Nationals plus 105 full game money line. I'm taking the Nationals. I think they avoid the sweep and get the win here against the Braves at home.
All right, here we go. Also keeping an update here on this Mets game, which has my eye right now. Pete Alonso gets on base because of a Nolan Arenado error. Jesus, you never see that. So a man on first base, as we take a look here, that number, which was over 1.5, minus 135 or so, is now back to 2 at minus 113 with a runner on first base. Let's see what Dom Smith does, because, again, if this number is going to stay at 2, continually putting people on base, we're going to have no choice but to maybe jump in and see what happens. Yep. But let's follow this Dom Smith at bat, which it looks like he's 2-0 in the count, and see what happens here. Kyle, talk to me in this game here, Atlanta and the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, this game feels like an over to me. And so we'll just look at smaller sample sizes here, but John Lester against the projected lineup of the Braves. The lineup is 20 of 63. That's a 317 average. He has had a couple of really nice starts against Atlanta, 37 and 49 in terms of fantasy points. When you break it over to Smiley, who you guys all know is my least favorite player in all of Major League Baseball. I cannot stand this guy. I don't think he's very good. I don't like how his name is spelt. The Nationals lineup, 14 of 40, a 350 average. And I agree with you guys. I got a slight lean here to Washington. I'm looking at a first 5 money line of minus 105. When I look at that, and then Jason talks about the plus money line for the full game, I think Washington can get it done here. Their lineup profiles really well. And I have 2 home run props today. 2 guys I think will hit home runs. One of them is the leadoff man for Washington, Trey Turner. 45 points better versus lefties. Obviously, Smiley struggles against righties. He has had 3 career at-bats against Smiley. He had 1 hit. That 1 hit, guess what it was? It was a home run. So I like the Trey Turner home run prop today. And I like the Nationals.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun today. See how quick, like half hour goes so quick. Specifically, we're trying to focus on some of these games out here to get through. But I do like the Washington Nationals team totals, and I think it's a solid play here for us. Last premier game we'll go over on the board, 919, 920, Tampa Bay and the Los Angeles Angels. I don't know about the game meaning much, but Albert Pujols finally gets released. The slug should have got released 5 years ago. But when you're paying that much money, hard to go to the owner and be like, hey, boss, can you write a check for $100 million so this guy goes away? Absolutely not. He's playing. You signed him. Deal with it. And that's what was taking place here. But they finally got into the last year of the contract, rightfully so. Get Albert Pujols out of town, clear space. Anybody is better than that guy, because if he hits the ball on the ground, then Albert Pujols could ground out to the wall and get thrown out at first base. So let's look at this one. McHugh and Heaney on the mound today, Jason. 143 favorite here. Total is 8. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be McHugh, and then I think Fleming will also pitch in this game. I'm looking more at the Angels and Heaney. He's been getting really high in the strikeouts, going up against the Rays, of course. They strike out a ton, the Rays do, no matter if it's a lefty or a righty or whatever. So I like Heaney over in his 7.5 and strikeouts at minus 120. I think he could approach 10 if he's able to, pitch some scoreless innings, which I think is obviously capable. He's capable of doing. So I'd look at that more than the game itself. Like Kyle always says, it's so hard with the Rays when they take relief pitchers and start them, and then take starters and pitch them as relief pitchers. It's so hard to navigate through all of that. So I would just stay away. And it's a night game. Like, screw that. Go to bed early.
All right, and just for the sake of the show here, the Mets do have 2 runners on here, still at the middle of their lineup up. I just jumped in on the over 2, minus 125 of the Mets. How are we going to do a live show with 6 games on? I'm not going to put a bet in play that I'm watching. Do I love the number minus 125? No, but a base hit right now, I'm going to almost pretty much guarantee that I'm going to win this bet. So I'll take that over the next 2 outs in this response. And even if they don't score, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th still to go for the Mets. We'll see what happens here. But I am in on the over 2 for the Mets, minus 125, as we see them with first and second base and 1 out here. We'll see what happens. Let's get to the last games on the card here. Tampa Bay, LAA here for you, Kyle. Go ahead, man.
Yes, sir. I'll go fast on this one. I like the Angels a lot. I like their first 5, minus 0.5 at minus 110. I like their lineup today. The projected lineup for the Angels, 26 of 90. So they've had 90 at bats somehow against McHugh. I was like, Jesus, how many times has this relief pitcher pitched against the Angels? But they do have a nice little sample size here. And my second home run prop is Mike Trout. So I like Mike Trout and Trey Turner today. I think Mike Trout actually does it in the first inning. 3 career. Let me just pull up that number and I'll get the hell out of the way here. I know we're rocking and rolling. 8 for 24 lifetime. Of those 8 hits, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, and a triple. I'm going to call a first inning Mike Trout home run off of McHugh today. I like Trout. I like Turner. Those are my home run props.
All right, let's get to some best bets and bankers before we get out of here today. So some of the best bets that we have on the board. And yes, my eyes are focusing on the screen here for the New York Mets as Kevin Pillar now works a 2-0 count here with runners on first and second base. We'll start with you first, Jason. What do you like on the card tonight? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I'm on the Nationals plus 105 in the full game on the money line.
There you go. And how about Kyle Purviance? What do you got, Kyle?
I'm going to take – I like Jason's, by the way. I'm going to piggyback off that because I love that Nationals money line. Again, I've talked about the home run props that everyone loves. Turner and Trout, hopefully one of them get it done tonight. And I'll take the Angels first 5 minus 0.5 at minus 110 tonight.
There you go. I don't have a best bet on the card tonight like I did last night with the Astros, which ended up going down. But obviously I'll be in play maybe with one of the games later on tonight. But I'm going to go with the Nationals and both the Marlins team totals. I think we can get both of those over. Two pitchers that struggle. Yeah, Bumgarner's on the mound, more of a name. Scratch out some runs from the right-hand side. The Marlins showing up and scoring a lot of runs here against the Diamondbacks, particularly down in South Florida. So I'm going to go with that as well. And that was the last game on the card that we didn't look at. And by the way, I believe Pillar has loaded. So bases loaded wanted. This is exactly what you wanted right now. And you see it's over 3 minus 125 now. A base hit here, you're going to be free rolling. Even if you just get one productive out here that scores one run, you need one run over the final inning. So we got exactly what we wanted. We'll see how it plays out here. But let's clear the bases, get out of here tonight with some fun. And any last thoughts here for you, Jason, before we get out?
My thoughts are the Mets better score here, and we better win this game. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, that's my thoughts as well with money on it. Kyle, what are we doing here, huh? What do we got on the tap for tonight?
I agree with the chat box. Fade the smiley. Let's go Nationals. I think they get it done tonight, and let's get that home run prop for Trey Turner. Turner and Trout, double T's tonight. I think they can get it done, and appreciate you guys all again in the chat box. Fun show.
There you go. And another ball as I'm taking a look here for Jonathan Villar at the plate. So hopefully we get a quick winner in this one. But hey, you know what? We'll be back on a Friday here. Major League Baseball never stops at sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz for Kyle Purviance. We're the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball team. And we'll see you tomorrow.